Call tonight's council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Staggers,
Present.
Anderson,
Here.
Benega,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Costello,
Here.
Jameson,
Here.
Knudsen, Litz.
Here. We have a quorum present for tonight's meeting. Tonight will be led in the invocation by Reverend Ryan Otto from First Congregational United Church of Christ in Sioux Falls. And after the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd ask everyone to please rise.
I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer. Life-giving Spirit, we thank you for the beauty and graces of a new day. We thank you for new opportunities as we work together as a community. We confess that we do not always get it right, but still we keep coming together, trying to do what is best for all. May we open our eyes and ears to hear our colleagues this evening. May wisdom guide the words and actions of this council. May courage move us all to do what is right for the common good. May your grace and your wisdom and your peace be with all who could not be with us tonight, especially keeping the troops abroad in our hearts. May equality and justice be our true guides, remembering that every decision is an ethical decision. We give you thanks. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have two proclamations tonight. So is Jennifer Helland and Nancy Larson, they come on up. Okay. Glad to have you here. We have a proclamation for Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week, and it reads, whereas MS is a chronic and disabling disease of the central nervous system in which the progression, severity, and specific symptoms cannot be foreseen. Whereas every hour of every day, someone new is diagnosed with MS, a disease that can erode a person's ability and hopes, halter a career, and unravel the fabric of families. Whereas last year in South Dakota, more than $400,000 was raised to find a cure for MS and develop effective treatments for the disease, as well as provide a wide range of client programs to improve the lives of more than 1,500 individuals living with MS in our state. Whereas this investment is paying off in significant advances in the treatment MS, such as new medication which may reduce or delay future disabilities for people with MS. Whereas research advances have brought us closer to finding the cure, much remains to be done, and the services must continue to be provided for those who live with the disease. Whereas there are public and private agencies available to serve the constantly changing needs of those with MS and their families living in South Dakota by extending essential services to all who need them. Now, therefore, I, Dave Munson, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim March 8th through the 14th, 2010, as Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week in Sioux Falls. Thank you. Then I'd like to invite Deb Callahan from Water Purification to come on. Or you could, oh, there's Deb. Okay, it's coming up. We have Mark Cotter and Kevin Kavanaugh coming up as well. And this is Sioux Empire Water Festival Days. Whereas the Big Sioux Aquifer underlies approximately 1,000 square miles, and together with the Big Sioux River services communities in southeastern South Dakota, many of which are agricultural. Whereas providing 2,356 fourth grade children and their teachers in 113 classes in 50 southeastern area schools with protection, preservation, materials for water, our most valuable natural resource, will help children make educated decisions concerning water in the future. Whereas this education is accomplished with the help of 100-plus volunteers from federal, state, county, and city governments and private businesses, and whereas this is the 17th annual event, and this year's theme is Water, Every Drop Counts. Now therefore, I, Dave Munson, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim March 29th and 30th, 2010, as Sioux Empire Water Festival Days in Sioux Falls and the Sioux Empire. Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll begin with the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Jamison.
Jamison moves. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further motions? Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda will vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes. All members present have voted. Consent agenda is approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved, Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. Are there further motions? Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the approval of the regular agenda will vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes. Motion to approve the regular agenda has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. This is the time we set aside a period of 5 minutes for anyone wishing to address the council. We just ask that you come up and just give your name, if you would, and address the council for a period of 5 minutes. Anybody wishing to come forward? I see no one that's coming forward at this time, so we will move into the regular agenda on item number 13.
Second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Sections 27-40 and 27-41 of Article 3 of Chapter 27, Parks and Recreation of the revised ordinances of the city by revising recreation and facility fees.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Don Kearney with Parks and Recreation. We primarily have 3 changes to the ordinance that's before you. The first one is changing the definition of a family aquatic center. We've changed the description so that when we convert a traditional swimming pool to a family aquatic center, that as we do that in the future, it'll be basically in place should we ever change those in the future. Historically, we've listed those by name, and basically what this does is allow us to, as we convert them, the ordinance and the change in fees would be effective. The second change is that we've added a dodgeball league to the list of programs and services that we offer, and we've added the associated fee of $50. And the final significant change is that we've added Harmadon and Sherman Parks as sites where we play co-ed softball. This past year when we opened Harmadon Park, we did do some shuffling of the different teams throughout the community, and so we now play co-ed at Harmadon and Sherman. And then there were some other definition changes throughout the document and clerical changes that we made, but there were no impacts to the fees in those particular cases. So glad to answer any questions.
Questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, Don, I have a quick question about Spellerberg Park pool. That's going to be coming up in the near future. Is that going to be made into a family aquatic center or just a regular pool?
That would be our intention, to change it to a family aquatic center.
Okay.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council on item number 13? Not? Is there a motion?
So move, Anderson.
Anderson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Benega.
Benega seconds. Further comments on that motion to approve? I see none, so all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes. All members present have voted. Item 13 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 14.
First reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the Second Amendment to amended and restated commitment agreement by and between Lewis and Clark Rural Water System, Inc. and the City of Sioux Falls.
Good evening, Kevin Smith with the Office of Public Works. Earlier this afternoon, you were given a presentation by Greg Greenfield, Bob Amundson, and Steve Burrian on this amendment. and I believe that's available for viewing for the public at siouxfalls.org. In a nutshell, 2 years ago when Lewis and Clark bid the water treatment plant, it was too expensive to award. The bids came in too high. Ultimately, the decision was made to construct it in phases. That required us to revisit our commitment agreement, which has been amended once. Our main mission was to ensure that the ratepayers, our customers of the city of Sioux Falls, know where their funds have gone into the system and where they will go by formula as the system is completed. I have every confidence that we're going to see treated water delivered to the city of Sioux Falls by mid to late 2012. And as the system progresses, as each new bid is awarded for new construction, some of the groundwork that's been laid will help us kind of chart our destiny, that we won't be wondering how the cost will be assigned, where the money is going, but rather it will be simply put into the series of spreadsheets and other things that comprise not just the Second Amendment itself, which is before you tonight for first reading, but also through the project information summary, which is really kind of the math behind it. And if you have any questions, Bob and Greg and Steve and I are all here, and along with Mark Cotter, Director of Public Works, if you have any further questions.
Questions? Kevin? Not. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to set the hearing date for March 15th for item number 14?
So moved. Let's.
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Benninga.
Bennigan seconds. Further comments? Set the hearing date. Being none, all in favor of setting that hearing date for March 15th for item 14, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilors Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Hearing date has been set for March 15th, 7 yes, 1 excused for item 14. Item 15.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the lease of city property to Northwestern Engineering Company.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. Tonight we have before you a lease that is just north of the building that is northwest of the 41st Street Bridge. This is the adjacent property owner that owns the Greenway Mall is Northwest Engineering. This is a lease term for 20 years for a payment each year of $1,000. This property owner has been very cooperative through the design and the easement negotiations, and subsequent there's been property that's been needed to be dedicated for expanding some of the sidewalks out there. They've dedicated those lands. And so this third acre of property will allow them to offset some of their additional parking needs. They're also going to have some parking impacts during the construction project, just with us being able to make some grade changes, build retaining walls. And so I'm certainly here to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions, Mark, on item number 15? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, why don't we just sell it to them?
Well, surplus property laws are very clear, and you can't just sell land directly to a property owner. One of the ways that they could potentially here is to find another like piece and do an exchange with the city, and that arrangement wasn't explored very far in detail. They will provide the lease dollars to the city. They'll also absorb all the costs to build the parking lot. That will create about 20 spaces. And it also won't affect the land that's the city owns in that area for storm detention. So, there's very clear requirements on how a city surpluses property, and it's just not available here.
Further questions? Not. Let's go to 16.
Thank you.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving the release of a permanent utility easement in Lot 1B and Lot 3, Block 6, Inglewood Lake Addition, Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Good evening, Chad Hebe with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This utility easement is located adjacent to vacated A Street between Kiwanis Avenue and Western Avenue. The City Council vacated this portion of A Street in late 2009. Property owner plans to develop this site, and this utility easement is not needed.
Questions, Chad, on item number 16? Not. Is there a motion to set the hearing date for April 12th for items 15 and 16?
So move, Anderson.
Anderson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconds. Further comments on the motion to set the hearing date? Seeing none, all in favor to set the hearing date for April 12th for items 15 and 16 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present have voted. The hearing date has been set for April 12th for items 15 and 16. Item 17.
A resolution determining use of a design-build contract for the purchase of playground equipment at Laurel Oak, Spencer, and Dunham Parks.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Kelby Maris with Parks and Recreation. The resolution before you would allow us to, again, use the design-build purchasing process for the replacement of playground structures. We've used this process several times in the past, and feel like we get our best play value for a dollar, and be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Go ahead.
How much are we going to pay for this?
The budget's $240,000 for these structures.
240.
Further questions? Go ahead.
You said that this is the best way to get value for our money.
Right.
If we didn't do design build, how much would we anticipate paying?
We would pay approximately the same amount, but we wouldn't get as much play value in our play structures. The way this process is designed, it allows the professionals in the industry to actually design the playgrounds, to put the best play components with their playgrounds, which adds more play value to the finished structure.
Further questions of Kelby on item 17? Others that wish to address the council on item number 17? Not? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Let's.
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconds. Further comments on the motion to approve item 17? I see none, so all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 17 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 18.
A resolution establishing a salary program that maintains a market-competitive salary range with a pay-for-performance program for the appointed position of city clerk / chief of council operations commencing March 2010.
Mr. Mayor, this is simply a change in the resolution to adjust the title and the pay range for our city clerk.
Questions? Seeing none, others wish to address the council on item number 18? Not, is a motion to approve.
So moved. Let's
move. Is there a second?
Second.
Brown seconds. Further comments? All in favor of the motion, vote yes. Those opposed,
Mr.
no.
Mayor,
Go
I
ahead.
have an amendment.
Okay.
I'd like to strike in the second whereas, I'd like to strike the reference to outlined in Exhibit A.
I'll second that.
Brown second. What, and where are you at?
In the second whereas, the words outlined in Exhibit A.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion?
I guess can you say something more about striking that Exhibit A?
There's no Exhibit A.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
That motion prevails, 7 yes, 1 excused. Further motions? Got a motion been made and seconded? Back to the main motion as amended. Further comments? I see none, so all in favor of the motion to approve item 18, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 18 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 19.
A resolution which authorizes the commencement of a comprehensive wastewater regionalization study.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. Mark Cotter with the Office of Public Works. Tonight we bring you the resolution that formally commences the wastewater regionalization study. And this builds off the same approach that we had before you with the two joint commissions and the City Council back in February 16th.
Questions of Mark on item number 19? Others? Go ahead.
Yeah. Mark, how much is this study going to cost?
We're still finalizing the scope, but right now it's greater than $200,000 in that area. The last meeting we had on scope, we reduced some items and we added some additional items. But it's essentially, once we go down the parallel tracks of all the engineering work and the planning work and the level of service, then we'll also be evaluating what the governance model will be, what's the rate structure, and then what's the implementation strategy. So it's going to be a very detailed study.
The city of Sioux Falls is not really going to benefit from this for the most part. It's going to be the cities in the outlying areas. Are they paying for any of this?
I guess I disagree with you, Counselor. I do think that the city is going to benefit from this. Some of our just hard fixed costs that we have today would be shared by a greater group of users. But one of the other components, it's not fully vetted yet, but we have been working with two state agencies that have offered to provide us grant dollars, which right now it looks like there'll be grant dollars for greater than 50% of the study.
But once again, are any of these cities that could potentially benefit going to pay?
We've personally not asked them to pay any of this study. One of the key things is that they're going to have costs to develop their own 2035 plan and give us their predicted wastewater rates. But on the onset, we still expect that it's going to be a system that's owned and operated by the city of Sioux Falls inside the city. And we need this tool to be able to address issues, just like what came up with Harrisburg. And so if we're successful getting those two grant dollars, which I should be able to provide you an update on that within the next 4 weeks, that'll significantly reduce the study.
Yeah, so it looks like if we get the grant dollars, we'll pay, Sioux Falls will pay $100,000.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair. Go ahead. Just to comment, I guess I was just surprised that we haven't already gotten some kind of study like this in our recent past. I viewed it as very necessary as the surrounding communities get within a couple of miles of the city of Sioux Falls. I think the city stands to benefit greatly from this, and with the regionalization concept, we do not want to have a lot of attempts at smaller sewer reclamation projects in and around the city of Sioux Falls here. I think that we have to get our arms around this thing, cooperate with the outlying communities, and therein lies the cost savings.
That's right.
Further questions of Mark? Others that wish to address the council on item number 19? Not. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Litz.
Let's move. Is there a second?
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. Further comments on that motion? Go ahead.
Well, I guess my concern here is that it would be nice if these communities would pay a little bit for this study, because the potential for them is very, very great. And here we are, Sioux Falls, once again, taking this on ourselves to pay for it all. I mean, just some symbolic thing from these communities would have been good.
Further comments? Got the motion been made? We got a motion and seconded. Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve item 19 will vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
No.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present have voted 6 yes, 1 no, and 1 excuse. Item 19 has been approved. Item 20.
A resolution approving the reinstatement of parking on the north side of 28th Street between Ferris Avenue and Elmwood Avenue.
Chad Hebe with the Engineering Division of Public Works. This portion of 28th Street is south of the Children's Care Hospital between Ferris Avenue and Elmwood Avenue. Engineering has a policy for the removal or restriction of parking on public streets. This policy has been followed for the past 30-plus years and contains procedures for several instances, one being a request to remove parking on a section of street that is less than 1,000 feet in length, which applies to tonight's situation. Per our policy, if a request to remove parking is supported by 80% or more of the adjacent property owners, City ordinance allows the engineering division to remove parking from that section of street. In 1981, engineering received a petition to remove parking on both the north and south sides of 28th Street. The request was submitted by the property owners on the south side of the street who currently reside there. In a letter to the mayor and board of commissioners, engineering recommended that parking be removed on only the south side of 28th Street. And that recommendation was based on the fact that only the property owners on the south side supported that, and the property owners on the north side, which was Children's Care Hospital, did not support it. During a commission meeting on March 23, 1981, the commission voted to remove parking on the south side of 28th Street. A week later, on March 30th, 1981, during a commission meeting, after receiving public input, the commission rescinded their action taken on March 23rd and removed parking on both sides of 28th Street. And now we're going to fast forward to the fall of 2009. The hospital was planning some maintenance work in one of their parking lots and requested that we temporarily allow them to park on the north side of 28th Street during construction. Engineering approved this request on a temporary measure. In January of this year, the Children's Care Hospital requested that the city reinstate parking on the north side of 28th Street, and that is why we're here tonight. Normally, this situation would be handled administratively by engineering. However, since the removal of parking on the north side was a commission action, we were recommended to bring this to you tonight. Currently, the hospital does not have any immediate plans to develop additional parking areas on their properties. It is my understanding that the property owners feel the road is too narrow to have parking on the north side of the street. I will just tell you that the road width is 32 feet, which is standard for a residential block. Except for this one block, parking is allowed on both sides of 28th Street in this area. Based on our policy, engineering is in support of allowing parking on the north side of the street. Dallas Hofer, our principal traffic engineer, is also present tonight to answer any questions, and I do know that the Children's Care Hospital is here tonight, as are the property owners on the south side of 28th Street.
Questions of Chad? Go ahead.
Chad, the width of that street on 28th by the hospital, is that the same as the width of the street just a further one block west of that Elmwood Street?
Yes.
So they're the same width?
Yes.
Okay.
Further questions? Go ahead, Ken.
Now, Chad, this is an area, as you stated, we've had a long history with, including the road that divides the hospital with the Bethany nursing home. And didn't we have an issue with parking down that road also?
I'm
Where
not
Bethany-
aware of one, but Dallas, are you?
I believe Bethany had to add some parking spaces there on the west side because of parking issues in that area.
Dallas Hofer with the City Engineering Office. Yes, there were a lot of issues with the Ferris Avenue years ago, and which did lead to the eventual vacation of that street.
And right now, what we have is the south end of the hospital is their loading and unloading area for their buses also.
Correct.
And then the southwest corner of Bethany is where they do their loading and unloading also.
That's right. And
So
there's
it's a,
parking to the
even though
north.
that the street is a regulation residential street, we have a lot of other things happening in that area too, don't we?
On Ferris, yes.
Yeah, that's what thank you.
Further questions? Go ahead, Vernon.
I don't know if it's for Dallas or Chad, but Holly and Elmwood, I'm trying to remember, is there parking on both sides of the street there?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Further questions? Others that wish to address the council on item number 20? Others that wish to address the council on item number 20? I see no one coming forward. Come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lon Clementson, Children's Care Hospital and School. I would just make a couple points here. Back in 19 1981, we had a total staff of 185 people. Today, Children's Care Hospital and School at that location has a total of 200 day staff and 50 evening staff, and the evening staff starts at 2:30. So they come about at the same time. So we're talking a total of 250 now versus 185 at that time. We use the VA parking lot that we have a lease with, but we are still short 48 parking spots, and so that is why we're requesting 5 or 6 additional spots along this street.
Thanks, Lon. Questions?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Lon?
Yes.
I traveled around your hospital today, and it was crowded with all the cars. Do you? And I asked Chad a little bit already. I guess I know the answer, but you don't seem to have a long-term parking solution. Am I hearing that right?
Well, from a funding standpoint, we don't. It depends on what Bethany would do with their property, potentially someday, and we would look at that as additional parking space if that would be the possibility. The lease with the VA lasts another approximately 10 years.
Further questions? Thanks, Lon. Others wish to address the council? Seeing no one that's coming forward, we will have council discussion or action. Yes, I ask people to come forward.
Evening, gentlemen. My name is Francis Harvey. Thank you. I live at 2505 West 28th Street, across from Children's Care. I've lived there for 40 years, and I was there in 29 years ago when this situation with parking there came up at that time. And it was a zoo out there with people on all sides of the street. You couldn't even get out of your drive at times. And we finally got that resolved with parking on neither side of the street. And for 29 years, that has worked very, very well. Street cleaners could get through there and clean the street. The snow plows could get through there without ducking around a car. And school buses could pull in and pull out without any obstructions at all, and the emergency vehicles had full access 365 days a year without no obstructions around there. And now, 29 years later, I have a situation that to me worked very well, wants to be turned over. And I would like to know why, to gain, I think, about a half a dozen more parking spots, they would want to change a situation that would seem to be good for everybody, particularly for us that want to get out of a drive in the wintertime when it's slick around there. So what I would like to know is why they need 6 more parking spots in public parking when there's plenty of room on Elmwood, between Elmwood and 28th and Oak. It's never filled over half the time, and those people would have to walk another block to get to the front of the door rather than running out and not even across the street to park there. Now, I did notice that there's one thing that I never thought of, but I saw it happening because we had a little preview here in January. They started parking out there all over the place on the north side, and I noticed that it was a good haven for their smokers to run out and jump in the car, light a cigarette, smoke for a few minutes, throw it out the window, and run back in. So that is one thing that we didn't have 29 years ago. And as far as their off-street parking around there, I don't know exactly what they got. They named some off up here. But I do know that at the Vets Hospital, it looks to me like they got about a half enough parking for the people that they got, considering what they've got in the streets. They also own homes, I understand, on the west side of their campus between 28th and 26th Street, and I think they've owned them for a number of years. And why isn't this being developed? Now, that's something that should be looked into. And there are city codes, I understand, that control parking for institutions like this, and it looks to me like they've been in violation probably for the last 29 years. They've had a long time to correct this situation, and apparently they're doing very little about it. So I would like to close it asking you to reject this application, and I want to thank you for listening to me, and thank you.
Thank you, Francis, for coming down. Questions, Francis? Thank you very much for coming down. Others that wish to address the council on item number 20? Not? Is there council discussion or council action?
Mayor, yes, I'd like to speak on this.
Go ahead.
This is an area I'm very familiar with, and I do sympathize with the Children's Hospital as far as being landlocked in there. But that's an intersection also that's had many problems as far as traffic-wise. School buses do go down there, and I think that if we did add parking to that side of the street, we would really find a big bottleneck right in that area, and especially at certain times of day. So I'm going to move that we turn down this resolution. I'm going to vote no on this.
Okay, what we have to do, we have to always vote in the, or make it in the affirmative, so we'd have to have a motion to approve, and then if you were against it, you would vote no at that time. So that's, we're going to have a motion to approve, and then the no vote would come into play after that if you're opposed to parking. So, further discussion? Or?
I would just have to add that I think the policy is right, that the landowner has the ability to petition the city. And I believe it generally is given to the engineering office to decide it, and just due to the changes, they're coming back. But if we couldn't have it that way, where the property owner could petition the city, it would be chaos in the city. I just have to add that I would hope someday, if and when they go to develop that west side of Elmwood, those homes that they own, that maybe the city could work with them in a zoning easement to allow some parking to occur there, because these guys are landlocked, and the parking around there is just crazy. I drove down, and there's really only one path to drive when there's parking on both sides of the street. Add in a little snow on each side of the street, and that road just gets even narrower. So allowing parking on one side of the street is I believe, acceptable. And the policy and the way it's set up and the way it's handled, I think, is correct. I don't think we should change that either, so just a comment.
Further comments?
Just a question for Dallas or Chad regarding the safety issues. I assume that you've checked with fire or emergency vehicles to make sure that parking on the north side will not inhibit any emergency vehicles.
Dallas Hofer again, City Engineering Office. Yes, I did talk with the fire department to get their feeling on it, and they felt as long as it was only on the one side that they could still get their vehicles through.
What about on Elmwood and Holly? Do they have concerns there? Because it is tight.
We didn't get onto that subject, but a single lane, I'm sure, would be of concern, yes.
Further comments? Got a motion, we've got a resolution for us, we've got to take some action on.
Well, to start the ball rolling out, we'll move for approval.
Okay, Costello will move. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson, second. You have to go with the affirmative to the positive. So then, if you're for the reinstatement, you'd vote yes. If you're against the reinstatement, you'd vote no. So everybody understands that. Any other questions? If not, all in favor to approve item number 20 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Councilor Anderson?
No.
Benega?
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Litz.
No.
Motion prevails, 4 yes, 3 no, and 1 excused. Item 21.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to sign federal and bridge replacement program resolutions for the replacement of the West 49th Street Bridge and the East 8th Street Bridge over the Big Sioux River.
Annually, the federal government funds a highway bridge replacement and rehabilitation program. The goal of this program is to fund the replacement and rehabilitation of deficient bridges that are off the state and interstate system of highways. Our bridges are inspected every 2 years and assigned a sufficiency rating based on the National Bridge Inspection Standards. The sufficiency rating doesn't necessarily indicate a bridge's ability to carry traffic loads, but it does help determine which bridges may need replacement or rehabilitation, not which bridges could collapse. Bridges with a sufficiency rating of less than 50 are eligible for these replacement funds. The federal program funds 80% of the costs, and the local entity funds the remaining 20%. Tonight's action will authorize the mayor to sign a resolution that will place 2 city bridges on this replacement list. Because the funding levels are not adequate for the demand of this program, the earliest these bridges will be eligible for funding is 2018. The bridges are the 49th Street Bridge over the Big Sioux River, just west of Kiwanis Avenue, and the 8th Street Bridge over the Big Sioux River, just east of Phillips Avenue. The 49th Street Bridge was constructed in 1979 and has a sufficiency rating of 44.6. The 8th Street Bridge was constructed in 1912 and has a sufficiency rating of 45.8. Both of these bridges are safe for the traveling public. The main reason for the low rating on 49th Street is that the roadway curves as you approach the structure from both the east and the west. And you can see up on the slides here, we have a couple potential scenarios for reevaluating options to reduce the radius of those approach curves. The 8th Street Bridge is 98 years old and is approaching the end of its useful life. The goal with the 8th Street Bridge is to reconstruct this bridge and maintain its historical appearance.
Questions of Chad on item number 21? Others that wish to address the council on item number 21? Not. Is there a motion to approve?
So move, Anderson.
Anderson moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Let's second it. Further comments on the motion? Seeing none in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 21 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 22.
A resolution to modify the revenue obligation loan agreement in connection with the $37,377,418 City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota sanitary sewer system revenue bonds issued pursuant to ordinance number 3905.
Good evening, Kevin Smith with the Office of Public Works again. In 2005, the city took out clean water SRF loans for a couple of different purposes. Through that program, the State of South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources asked us to participate in a non-point source program, which is essentially funding to rehabilitate the Big Sioux River and its tributaries. They made available to us just over $4 million. The money was to have been spent within a 5-year time frame, which is coming up in May of 2010. About 75% of the funds have been used, and rather than asking for the rest of it back, the state has requested us to extend that for another 20 months. So to go, instead of May of 2010, they're giving us till January of 2012 to spend the rest of the funds. We've done a lot of work along the Big Sioux River and its tributaries, most notably, I guess, through Skunk Creek in Dunham Park, where we've done a lot of stream bank stabilization, stopped the erosion, And we have a couple of other locations upstream on the main channel of the Big Sioux, and that's where we like to focus the rest of our efforts.
Questions of Kevin on item number 22? Others? Go ahead.
Yes, Kevin, the interest rate that we would be paying on this extension?
There would be no impact on the interest rate or the repayment amounts. Basically, the funds have been made available to us through principal forgiveness. So it wouldn't affect our repayment, either the interest rate or the principal amount. They're just going to hold on to the funds for us.
But, I mean, we are paying interest, right?
Oh, yes.
Is it 2% or something? Or what is
it varies. There's one amount for one of the loans and another amount for the other. I think it's like 1.5 and 2.25.
Okay.
Further questions on item number 22? Others that wish to address the council on item number 22? Not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Benninga.
Benninga moves. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further comments on the motion?
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, if I could ask you another quick question here. They want us to extend this from 60 months to 80 months. I mean, is there any real reason why we should extend it, just because they would like us to extend it, or what?
Absolutely. It will allow us to go out and I'd say invest another $1 million in stream bank stabilization, which does provide a direct benefit to the citizens of Sioux Falls. Essentially, erosion and the sediment that goes into the river is a contaminant, and to the extent we can stop that from occurring upstream of the city of Sioux Falls, that's a direct benefit to us.
No, I guess what I'm asking is, well, why couldn't we spend the money before? You know, why do we have to have an extension? I mean, couldn't we spend that money before?
Sure. We had a cost share with the East Dakota Water Development District. We made available to them about half of that $2 million for a conservation easement program. And to date, they've only received enough interest from upstream landowners to get in about $250,000 into that program. And we gave them till last summer to work on it. Secondly, and I guess coincidentally or maybe serendipitously, the two major projects that we let last fall came in at about half of the engineer's estimate. They were both nearly $1 million projects and came in about half of what we expected they were going to be. So we ended up with all of this funding that we had hoped to have expended, and graciously the state understood our plight and said they didn't ask for the money back. They wanted us to go up and do more work on the Big Sioux because it's good for the environment, and that's one of their missions.
I could just ask one last question. How much interest were you paying for extending this out?
This will not change the interest rate, the loan repayment amount, or the principal.
But we're extending it. We've got to be paying some more money in interest over that period of time.
They're simply going to extend the amount of time they're giving us to expend those funds.
Without charging us interest for that extra time.
It will not change our loan agreement materially otherwise, no.
Further questions? We got a motion been made and seconded to approve item number 22. Further discussion? Seeing and all in favor of the motion to approve item 22, vote yes. Those opposed, no.
Councilor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 22 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 23.
A proposed resolution vacating tracks B and C of Lot H4E1/2 of TR4 Northwest Quarter, Northeast Quarter, and Northeast Quarter, Northwest Quarter, Section 23-101-50, and a portion of South Valley View Road as shown on attached exhibit.
This unimproved right-of-way is on the southwest corner of the 12th Street and Valley View Road intersection. The petitioner is Wheel City Auto, and they would like to expand their parking area into this vacated right-of-way. In 1993, the city purchased Lot H4 for right-of-way purposes. In 1988, Lot H4 was platted into tracks A, B, and C. Tract A is now the northbound lane of Valley View Road and is used as right-of-way. Tract B was sold to the adjacent property owner but was never vacated. Tract C is public right-of-way. In 2008, Valley View Road was realigned to the west, so this right-of-way is not needed in the future for highway purposes. If this right-of-way is vacated, Tract C and half of the adjacent vacated right-of-way to the east and south would be declared surplus property by the city.
Questions of Chad on item number 23? Go ahead.
So Chad, then when it becomes surplus property, do we have to auction it off and they would be one of the people that go to the auction? Is that the process?
We can auction it off. We could take sealed bids.
I see.
So we'll make that determination as we move forward.
Presumably, Wheel City Auto would be your main source of interest on this.
Well, if you notice the Tract V, which is the very northernmost piece of property there, highlighted in yellow, they already own that. It was just never vacated. So the only portion, they will get half of the vacated right-of-way, kind of where that arrow says unimproved right-of-way. They'll get half of that. We'll go back to that.
Half of that road, the old road would be theirs then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yes, they would be obviously very interested in acquiring.
So they'd be looking at the other half of that and then that funny little triangle where
Yep,
the two
exactly.
converge? Okay, very good. Thank you, Chad.
Further questions of Chad? Not, is there a motion to set the hearing date for April 12th for item number 23?
So move, Litz.
Let's move to the second.
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconds. Further comments on the motion to set the hearing date? Seeing none, all in favor, set the hearing date for April 12th for item 23. Vote yes. Those opposed? No.
Counselor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Stello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
That motion prevails. The hearing date has been set for April 12th for item 23. 7 yes, 1 excuse. Is a motion to adjourn?
So move, Litz.
Let's move. Second it.
Second, Anderson.
Anderson seconds. All in favor? Vote yes. Those opposed? No.
Counselor Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Stand adjourned. See you tomorrow.